Uche, 6.57 trillion naira is what we have, spent in 2025. That was what we assigned or what was there in the budget for defense in 2025. And also, the president has spent 800 and something million in importing new weapons into Nigeria to help fight insecurity. And one breath, some people were saying that the continuous de-radicalization process, a reintegration of terrorist people back into society is a way to mark all the spending and all the effort of the government in helping to end the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. What do you have to say about that? As at this point, the terrorists is more like they've already gained a whole level of sympathizers. People like the likes of Shegumi is saying that we have to continue taking or passing through the non-kinetic measure to make sure we hold them, even suggesting an amnesty for terrorists in Nigeria for them to down tools. Help us actually and tell us what you make of this.
Thank you very much. Before I answer the question, I just want to mention something. You brought one so-called prophet who is always talking about political issues and never religious issues. I will advise that we don't give currency to such characters because they're just politicians who don a garment of prophecy. And with all due respect to Dr. Anosike in the studio, I think it is very wrong to say that anybody is trying to sabotage Mr. Tinubu's government. You really just asking the question, over 6 trillion in the budget for the military. Mr. Tinubu has the freedom to appoint the service chiefs who he thinks will deliver. So the service chief that has been on board for the past 2 years of his regime, he appointed them. Not just the service chief, but also the brigade commanders, the GOCs, General Officers Commanding. They are all appointed by him. So if he was even feeling that anything was being sabotaged, nothing stops him from even bringing in mercenaries from wherever, or even inviting countries, like even the US. Welcome them with open hands to help you. So it is very, very wrong for Nigerians to begin to insinuate any sabotage. If anybody is sabotaging the Tinubu regime, it is Bola Tinubu. Sorry, it is Bola Tinubu himself, by inaction, by inactivity, by doing things that will even stop the embers of these crimes, of this violence. So let us stop that continued issue of trying to ascribe the crime to somebody else and not the person who is at the top, who the buck stops at the stable. With regards to the funds being spent, you see, we have a very funny country with regards to military expenditure. All the military GOCs, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Navy Staff, end up as billionaires. Billionaires, not even in Naira. They're multi-millionaires in US dollar terms. You see the former Chief of Staffs all buy houses in New York, in Dubai, in London, and all that stuff. Where do you think the money comes from? It's from the 6 trillion budget that has been spent. So you spend 6 trillion, and then where do you use the money on? Do you use it to train our soldiers? Do you use it to equip them? Do you use it to motivate them? The answer is no. Because on several occasions, we have seen what these soldiers have to contend with. The kind of food, the kind of rations. They even show it also on TV when they're in the forefront, in the battlefront. You send troops to the front. You don't even equip them. You don't give them proper sleeping or proper camping facilities. And you expect them to go and kill or to go and shoot terrorists? So the 6 trillion, Nigerians should just know that what has happened to the national budget happens to the 6 trillion. When you track how that money is spent, more than half of it ends up in the pockets of these commanding officers of the GOCs and all that stuff. That is why, for instance, a general, a retired vice admiral, can have such a huge mansion in Abuja that he can send his security detail to go and start insulting the minister of Abuja. Where did he get the money from? In other countries, I will give you an example. In the US, there was this black American who was the chief of defense staff in America. He was still repairing his hobby was to repair his old Volvo so that he can keep on moving. That is how generals are. And you see them, they are trained, they are focused. But with the characters we have here, as chief of defense, chief of army staff, they don't even look like soldiers. They are thinking of where to buy the next mansion in a foreign country. So don't let the figures spent or the figures allocated for defense scare anybody. It shouldn't, because bulk of it gets wasted or gets into wrong hands. And I have previously advocated that when we have a serious government, all these multimillionaire generals should be tried appropriately for the crimes they have committed. Because when you send soldiers to the front and you don't equip them because you have stolen the money that was meant for these soldiers to operate, you can be accused, you can actually be tried for manslaughter or for serious offenses, because that soldier that died in the forefront died because of your criminal actions. And go through the list, all the chiefs of staff, what do they do after serving as the chief of staff? He can now contest election as the president or governor of a state. That means he has become rich. And ask yourself, how much is the salary of these officers? So where did the money come from? Yes, it's unfortunate. Quite unfortunate.
Now,
Thank you.